And I should just let Chris know about it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, Miss Sheila, let's just take a little look here. What time we got? Oh, we got time. Good. So just to confirm, you started with command?
Yeah.
How did you watch a video or how did you learn the process? Like location classes or?
I watched, I watched the video that Janine did, one of them, and then I also did the command. The 2 trainings that they were, but it was done through command.
Great. So you can give that class. Because there's people having challenges on that. So then you put the buyer's name in, and then you made a transaction, made an opportunity, then you want to go to transactions, do the DocuSign, and all the documents that maybe you needed. Is this for a listing or buy?
This is for buy.
Okay, so when you do a listing, the only difference will be you might not have the listing agreement in there. I'm telling you that because
Actually, we're just starting to do that right now. So.
great. So where did you get the listing agreement from?
Well, I didn't. I'm actually just going to pull the.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to probably do is teach you all how to create a listing agreement in NJNLS.
Okay.
And that means you won't have to do it again when you go to post it. And it kind of fills out a lot of information for you, block and block, all this kind of stuff.
Right. And I think she needs to get a training on that.
Correct.
As well.
The only difference is once you do the listing agreement and you download it and then import it for your computer in the DocuSign, and then you'll need to add the signatures, initials, dates, type of thing. So the only thing you'll need to do for that. But then once it's signed, then you just go right back to your listing agreement and just publish something less, more or less. So you have to do a couple
So
things.
I'll be able to do a test. I can do it in the MLS. Just it's not making it go live.
Just don't hit save and publish.
Okay.
So when you go to listing maintenance, go to right in the corner, and say create listing agreement. And just do that, and follow the prompts there. Any questions on that?
So I'll do another. I'll do that. with the
Yeah,
listing.
try a listing. Sure. Uh-huh.
A couple of documents that are in the extension on my side that I might not need initially.
That's fine.
But
Better have too much than too little, I'll tell you that. Because some people aren't getting paid because they haven't done the documents. And that's where we're getting this some issues.
Authentication error. The login information for must account for this envelope. Huh. The login information provided does not match the account. Oh, okay. Because this is interesting then, because I signed in with my DocuSign.
Can you pull it up from the email? In the attachment?
Well, let's see.
Scroll down.
Gotcha. Yeah. Right. So I went to the view completed documents. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. You gave me all the attachments. So sure. A little strange there. Make sure you put 2022. So I've asked to have it updated. It's just, it's a whole rigmarole.
Yeah, I'll just cross it out. There was something on one of the other ones.
Let me-
zero, and I had crossed out zero.
I'm gonna DocuSign update date on COVID form. Okay, so that's fine. That's all you needed to. This was filled in automatically when you did it, except for the date.
Right.
So when you
I
went,
put that fake address. in
correct,
From the details page.
correct, right. So that was my next question. So when it took you to DocuSign, it took you to the documents tab, right? So you had to go to the details tab
In command, I had to add the address. So, you know,
under the buyer.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. But what about putting in the listing agent, the buyer's names, the seller's names, stuff like that, the right-hand column?
So I didn't do. the
You didn't go
listing.
that far, okay.
Yeah, I didn't do the listing.
But just so you know, you have to do that, okay? So this one's perfect. And you signed and dated automatically. You pretended you were the buyer, okay? So how did you do it then? You sent it to a personal email address?
I have another.
Yeah.
Email address.
Good. That's what I recommend. Excellent. So the commission bill is not filled out. This is the commission bill you do not send at the beginning. The commission bill is needed like a week or two before you're closing. That is at the attorney only. Nobody needs to sign it, nothing needs to be done. This is filled out and you would get this other information from your contract.
Okay.
So that's the only thing you need there. This may or may not be filled out depending on how you're doing it. I sometimes recommend for you guys, I just throw it away. And then when you're ready to close, you do it. But so you don't even need this at the beginning. This is just for you and the attorney. And here, I always put the money here. Some people put like 2% as a listing, as a commission. Put it in the amount.
The real.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting 2%, this is $500,000, $10,000. And then there's a list, the buyer, so the listing fee would be minus whatever, 150, 250, whatever it is. The grand total due to Keller Williams goes here. I want you all to know, and I said, you probably know, when you're a buyer's agent, I have a form that the money can be wired directly attached. So you don't need to get a check. I like it that way, easier, cleaner. You need to send it. I sometimes just put a little thing there, please wire to Keller Williams the attachment. And then I have that form you can send also. You might have it for what I sent you earlier, but it's a wiring instructions form. I have it, Patrick has it, if you need it. It's good to have. This way it's just easy. You don't need to deal with a check. The buyers don't need to see the check if they happen to see it.
I'll do another one so that you can see if I did it properly.
Awesome.
When do I
Okay.
do this? At what point?
A week or two before you're closing. It's really, once you've gone through all the contingencies, inspection and appraisal, at that point, it's really not going to fall out of deal. But that's when you do it. You want to do it. Your attorney will maybe ask for it, but you should have it done before they even ask for it, is what I recommend. We're just reviewing some of Sheila's paperwork here. Liz is apropos to you too. So the AFBA, the ABFA, this is the Affiliated Business Agreement, required document. So always get it signed no matter what side of the deal you're working on. So your buyer, yeah, this is all, this one's basically filled out. There's nothing for you to do whatsoever except get it signed, which she did. She sent it to herself as if she was the buyer with a different email address. So the form itself is all filled out once you do the details page.
This is only for buyers.
Becker's.
She's working as a buyer. Jane, you need me? I want to mute you. No, it's just for buyers, excuse me. It's the title company. Do you know what it means? Do you know what the client says? What does it mean? What does it mean?
That there's a chance that I could be affiliated with.
Right, it's not you. Keller Williams as an affiliation with the title company, so they can't use it. As far as I know, all title company fees are the same, but there's an interest in Keller Williams. You're gonna pay it no matter what, is what I basically say, no matter who you would.
Do I need to for the lawyers?
What about it?
Do I need that form?
Nope. Lawyers do not need this. The lawyers really, I was asking me earlier, the lawyers really only want the contract, any associated contract paper.
My seller, she wants me to recommend my attorneys for her.
Yes.
So do I need to fill out a form?
You need to fill out a form for the attorneys. So no. So if you're going to recommend attorneys, we typically want to recommend 3. I only do the order that I prefer, and I tell them this is what I prefer. Check them all out if you want to. Make sure they work with your personality, with together fees. I'm using Joe Piazza, so a new one now. Then I recommend Melissa Suarez and the other Spanish speaking.
So if I can also just, I grab the list from their job, type it out and just sign, so it's top 3. They have a flyer with all the safety.
However, you want to have an association with the attorney. You want to be able to call them and say, stupid ass, these are our attorneys who are helping us. Joe's great. Usually I like to Spanish speaking. Melissa versus Spanish speaking attorneys. That's and I always call the attorneys at Beck, working as a buyer's agent. So I just want to say hello, to hear my voice, and Joe's great. And if you do use Joe, please say I recommend it. I sent you or something, please. It's the kind of thing where you don't want to call them and say, hey, I feel stupid. They're here to help us. That's why they're our preferred attorneys. And more importantly, they're using Carnegie Title automatically. So then you get the affiliated with Carnegie Title. Okay, is it 11 o'clock? Let's finish this later, okay? Okay. Jody. Hey, Jane and Jody, can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Awesome. Hi, Jane. Jody, who are you? Jody, who? It's 3 women. All right, so today we're going to talk about listing, CMAs. You can't hear me, I might walk away from my computer, so let me know if you need me to speak up or whatever. I'll try to stand here more. So we're going to talk about CMAs. What is a CMA? It's a comparative market analysis. You're comparing houses that are similar to the ones that you're selling, maybe buying, and you want to see what the market's bearing. We want to get like houses, apples to apples, not necessarily apples to oranges, meaning they may be similar to the same house, but they're not exactly. We may have to do that too. So Scott uses NJMLS Cloud, Cloud CMA. Great. I'm going to show you a different way. I'm going to show you the RPR way. So everybody, if you want to go on RPR, you can, or just watch me. And the things that I've learned from Scott as well to do a good CMA. Scott, of course, has all his information in his CMA, but we'll show you ours. Here's Jose. Why don't I hear that? All right, so a seller of a home, which we're really going to do CMAs for today, you can do the same thing with buyers. You can, when you're making an offer, you can go on the stats for a buyer and find out what the listing to sales ratios are in a certain town. If you don't know how to do that, we can do that on stats. Also, you want to call every agent listed, if you're a buyer, call the listing agent to find out what's going on. Did you have a good open house? Are a lot of people? Do you have any offers? Do you have anything at asking? Ask a lot of questions to see what the agent will tell you. That's really, 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 really important as a buyer's agent as far as offers go. Yeah. Hello, Jose. How are you, my man?
I'm good, Coach. You?
Great, thanks. Thanks for joining. All right, so I hate to even do this to begin, but you know every seller is going to a certain website to see what their house is worth, right? And that website is Zillow. So what I tend to do is I will type in the address of a house. So let's find a house we want to do a CMA for. Anybody have one you want me to do something for? You're doing a condo or you're doing a house? Yeah, is that a real house? Yeah, so perfect.
So the address is 587 Columbia Street.
Is that Bergen County? I don't know New Milford whatsoever, so this will be interesting. All right, so I type it in the search bar, and then I will just kind of look and see what various places have. If I'm going on a listing appointment, I will actually print out some of these things and bring with me because I know they've been looking, and it gives me conversation. So this was actually under contract. So this must be listed at 539. It doesn't say estimate of the house here. Okay, so 539 is probably the listing price on this one. I will just check out a few of them and see what's going on. Off market, well, that's interesting. This was 478 in 2020. It was or was not?
It was.
Was or is? Would you check it for me while I'm doing this? We just put in the search bar or whatever on the MLS. This says 539 and Zillow said 539. See, I'm assuming it says for sale. So sometimes they'll just give the estimated price. So this will be a little different, and Trulia and Zillow is probably the same exact thing because they're owned by the same company, 539. And various websites like Weichert may have other things. That's 539. So I will do that. I'll just print it out because I know they've looked at it. We may or may not go on the MLS. So 539 is our basic number right now. Open up the NJMLS. Actually, I'm going to open up RPR. Well, so in NJMLS, I will go to also. So what I like to do, it's a little bit like a cloud CMA, but I'll do a search for properties. I'll do a property search. This is residential, you said, right? It is on the MLS. That's fine. That's fine. So what town are we in? New Milford. So let's go to New Milford. Oh, I also need to know how many bedrooms and baths, which may or may not. Excellent, thank you. So we're looking for, if we go under New Milford, we want to go to actives, see what their competition is, how many houses are against them, because that'll depend on the price too. And it goes back to their motivation, how badly they're going to need to sell the house. So depending on how aggressive, how aggressive they're going to be on their listing price as well. So under contracts will let me know what's being accepted offers. We don't know the price on that yet, of course. And then solds. Now, if I just do sold right now and hit OK, we now have 3,000 hits, but we don't want that. So we'll open this back up. We'll go to the detailed status, and under sold, let's just try 3 months, the most recent sales for what's happening. You can compare 3 months to 6 months or 9 months or 12 months to see how the market's changing. If you want to show them that, is not a bad idea. So in 3 months, we now have 77, which is a lot of houses in New Milford. However, let's go now to bedrooms. You said 3 bedrooms. So if we're going to do apples to apples, let's just do 3 bedrooms to start. Let's just see what happens. 3 bedrooms. And you said Baz 2.5. I'm going to go 2 to 3 instead of 2.5, 2.5. So I'm not really doing apples to apples, but you'll see. So half less and a half more. 26. I'll look at this. Let me go bigger for you guys. So I'll look at this and I'll print this out. I'll actually print out this chart and have it. And I'll use my little yellow highlighter and highlight certain things that I want to highlight. I don't really necessarily print out listings. You can do that on RPR. I sometimes do it here. It depends on the circumstance of the house and what's active under contract and sold. So out of these 8 active, they're all 3 bedrooms. Some are 2s, and you got a couple 2.5s. So that initially tells me there's no 3 bedrooms active. So right now there's 2 competitors or 3 competitors, apples to apples, exactly the same style, 3, 2, 1s. The problem with this one, I won't say the problem, we don't know where they are. And that's why I like RPR, because on the map, it will show you, and I believe on cloud, it shows you too. So unless you know the neighborhood really well. These are all split levels. So I'm not sure what kind of house that's a split level too. Okay, so right away, it's telling me right away, it's probably going to be between, I can't even read these numbers in here, 595, 599 to 750. So right away, that's telling me what's happening in the market. I mean, so then it goes into that range between those numbers on an RPR high. On an RPR, we'll see that too. If your house is not in good condition, if it's 30 years old and needs all new kitchen, bathrooms, whatever, it's probably going to be on the lower end. Wouldn't you agree? Yes, we're all shaking our heads. Yes. I mean, these tie downs, right? But somebody's going to want to come in and make it more modern, 100, 200 or more, correct? Right. Maybe you're saying that. See, that's a tie down, and that's what happens. So yeah, I get it. I'm just telling you what's going to happen out there, what's going to happen with the buyers. They're not going to give you top dollar if they spend another $200,000. That's very logical, right? Right. So that's our range right now. You do have some people who are lower, but they're different types of houses and good conditions and all. But these 2 lower end houses are under attorney review. What's the number 1 reason a house sells or doesn't sell? Price. So if you want to ask your top dollar, it makes it in the market. And what happens if it sits in the market too long and your sign's out front of the house? What do people say to drive by? Oh my God, something was wrong with the house. It's not selling. And what happens to your value? We don't want that happening to your listing now, Ms. Seller, do we? No. So we want to price it fairly or aggressively, depending on what you want to do. We want to get the most eyes on it and the most offers and showings. Okay, so under contract now we have with a 6 and split level. These are all only 1, 3, 2, 1, but that's why I leave this open. Yeah, thank you for that. So you can. So if this is a little bit less, you may be able to get a little more for an extra half bath of powder room. If it's got 2 fulls or just got 2 halves, maybe you price it a little bit less. This is all just conversation. It's just not exactly a number. You want to get the most people on it to see it to sell it. This one, of course, is a Cape Cod. 321 is a split level. That's at 539. So that's really on the lower end, just below this other 321. Okay, cool. And I'll print this out. I'll highlight the 321s, have that conversation. So 12 sold in the last 3 months. In New Milford, 3 2s, 3 2 to 3 3s. So we can now see they're selling between 455 and 705. Was that similar to what how come I'm not hearing this? That's just not my thing, I don't think. So we were talking 599 to 750. So we're talking a little bit lower here. Could be condition, could be location. We all know what CLM stands for when we talk to our sellers, why a house sells or doesn't sell, CLM. I heard it. Condition, location, and marketing. Of course, price, but we don't really talk about price necessarily in front of them right away. We explain what's happening. Location, 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 right? So there's the range of what every 3-bedroom has sold for in New Milford as part of our discussion. 3-2-1s. You got a couple 3-2-1s here that are the 6s, low 6s. There's a 3-3. That's another full bath. Probably not going to get that for your 3-2, correct? Hey, Angie, didn't expect you here today. Would you mind closing the door? Thanks. So I look at all this, print it out, highlight it. If I sometimes will take time to actually click on the houses to see their condition, especially if I've seen the house that I'm going to do a listing on, I can kind of explain why it is better or worse than what we're seeing. A lot of times we don't see the house until we go to the listing. This is why we talk about a range and why you've done all your due diligence. You know the market, you're bringing stats. So I will print this out. And of course, my other favorite thing, of course, is my stats. So stats, statistics, can you see? Everybody should know how to do this now. Number one, you leave alone. Let's try 3 months again. Okay, Alex. Residential, the county is Bergen, which is 2. The area is New Milford, our house in question. Status, we're going to leave alone, and bedrooms, let's do that 3-bedroom again so we can at least know what 3 bedrooms are. Not going to worry about bathrooms at all. I'm just going to hit execute. So one of my favorite things. So now we can see how many houses were sold in our last chart. Anybody remember? It should be 20. Anybody remember that? I don't know if I have it up or not. So this says 20 houses were sold. I think I changed it. Yeah, I did. I went to stats. So 20 houses sold in New Milford, 3 months, 3 bedrooms. We don't know how many bathrooms. 18 plus 2 weeks, 20. Some were co-broke. I listed, you bought it, or vice versa. List sold, I listed 2 of them. I listed and sold both of them. It's just interesting to see those stats. So the average sold price of a 3-bedroom house in New Milford, $523. No argument with that. If you took all 20 of these houses that sold in the last 3 months, that's the average price. Wow, right? I mean, that's powerful stuff. Why do you think you'll get $750 for your home when they're all selling for this much? Well, I just did a total renovation, spent $200,000 on it. Cool, that's a good reason. Let's talk about that. So that's just, there's no arguing with this. They sold for a little bit more when they were co-broke for whatever reason. Could be the houses, could be negotiating. But it's coincidentally, if I bought and sold the same thing, look how much lower, $332,000. I think it could have been 2 horrible houses too. So just interesting. What's very interesting here to me is this average days on market is below 30 days. What does that mean, Pamela? What's the possibility of that number?
Prices, right?
Excellent, prices, right? Anything else? Could be a lot of cash buyers. I'm going to say it's, sorry?
Inventory.
Interest could have been low in the last 3 months, yeah. Inventory is low and they're aggressively trying to get it done. Cash buyers can be done within 10-15 days if everything's, if the stars align, depending on inspections, things like that. Taking a loan out, you know, is challenging at best to be done in 30 days. Again, if everything lines up, you can get a loan in 30 days where all the paperwork's been in and they're waiving appraisal and they're doing minimal inspections. If all this happened fast, you can close in 30 days. You'd of course talk to your lender about that. So here, currently active 11. That's probably the same number we saw before. So we have 11 active 3 bedrooms. Months of inventory, which we call the absorption rate, 1.8. Does anybody know what that means? Very. That means that all 11 of these houses will all be gone in one. That is showing you how fast houses are selling. That is definitely a seller's market. So, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, anything around 5 or 6 is the in-between number. Let me
Just text me that you got the email.
Okay, empty.
2:30.
Fred, oh my gosh. So those houses have been gone in 1.8 days, which is good for you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. If we price it right and fairly and aggressively, we can get it done. And the more fair and maybe the more aggressive, the more eyes we get in, maybe we can get that eBay auction effect, a bidding effect, and we get to even more than this 523,000. Wouldn't that be great? Everybody shaking their head, yes. So that's what you do. And I get my highlighter, I highlight the Milford, I'll even write 3 months here. I like this little space. 3 bedrooms, I'll highlight these things, my absorption rate, current active, this is competitors. Oh, so here, current active competitors, they're listed at 547, right? Which is 40 some thousand above average sale price. So this is a good number too. This is another number you want to look at. I mentioned this morning. So the sales, the list price is started with at a sale price. They actually got above asking on every circumstance if you go by the average. So 3.7 above. So they're probably listed, well, look, the list price was averaging 504. So if you statistically, if we were to list your house at 504.5, it should sell around this, and it should be getting around 103.7% in the last 3 months. And we all know interest rates rising, et cetera, et cetera. What's interesting again is this is below the asking price, because we know that this number was low. Now, what does last list price sale price ratio mean? Anybody? If there's been a price reduction, which there probably hasn't been in too much in that time period. If there were, those numbers are the same, so there really hasn't been. But if there was a price reduction or 2 price reductions, then you would see the last list price sales price ratio, which would tell you, if you looked it up in the MLS, what it was last listed at and what percentage they got from that. So that would be also a good fair marketing price as well. So a lot of interesting numbers here. And don't you sound so smart when you talk about this to your sellers? They're like, oh my God, what are you talking about? So now I have all that, which is great. I've printed out those MLS. I printed out the stats. I maybe printed out a Zillow or 2 things to have in my back pocket. I don't really show them right away because I know they've looked at it. And now we'll go to RPR. Everybody should be able to log in on this. If you can't, let me know. We'll figure it out. If you can't, you may just have to call them. I always remember my decision. And we're talking what address again?
587.
Thank you. 587 Columbia. And it should start to fill in certain things. You can see it has. Houses are easier than condos. They don't tend to fill in as well because you need to have apartment numbers or unit numbers. Sometimes when you're doing a condo, it'll come up down there, and then you'll kind of know how to type it in if you can't get it. So this is us right here. And there it is. Hey. So this picture and all the pictures, 27 of them, are coming off the MLS, either the current one or the last listed one. So you can go through pictures. While I'm thinking about it, there's been discussion a lot about doing lead generation with single page CMAs. Just going to your neighborhood, your farm, whatever area you're doing, typing in this like I have, getting this quick little RVM value, which we'll discuss, and sending it off to 5 houses a day. Dropping it off and door knocking is even better, my recommendation. But if you want to email it to them with your business card and say, give me a call to discuss, or whatever you want to say on a letter, we can talk about that. Great way to do a 5 lead generations a day. It's 25 a week, 100 a month, easy to do, and it's going to get some value. Speaking on that point, if you do the statistics and you know how many 2 bedrooms are going for, or 3 bedrooms are going for, or 4 bedrooms are going for, because of statistics, great conversation too when you're door knocking. So great on that. Hello. So on the RPR, this comes up. You will, so right now this says list price. This one's a little different. Actually, it says pending. So it's probably under contract. It was listed at this, and it's saying the RVM, or the realtor valuation model, has it at 557,320, which is actually above the listing price. So again, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if you're pricing it right, fairly, and maybe aggressively below a value, that thing, I don't even know how many days on the market that was. I don't know if Sheila, you have it up there or not. If it says how many days on the market, you can be under, you might be able to 14 days. So they listed it, they probably had an open house, waited for some offers. 2 weeks would be great to get a house under contract. Under contract, of course, means they had the offer, they went on attorney review, they went through all the back and forths, and now they're under contract in 2 weeks. Pretty good, pretty good. These are all discussions for your sellers. Now, what is an RVM? If you hover there, an RVM is an estimated value generated by automated valuation models for market, on market, and off market, which is kind of cool. So this uses off market values as well. MLS data. The RVM is the most accurate estimated value. You sometimes will see AVM here, which is a less accurate automated value, updated twice a month, it says. What's important here are the stars and the estimate. I think this estimate, again, is more important than this number, because we really don't know what the house is. I mean, I can't say your house is worth 537,320. I mean, it'd be nice, right? So we don't know, again, if the kitchen's old, bathrooms are old, or if they're brand new renovated, if it's wood countertops, Formica countertops, marble, all those things go into play in the discussion with your CMA and your listing price.
Look at the last sold price.
So yeah, I look at all of this. So in 2020, so this might have been a flip, I don't know.
So I'm saying, 'cause I mean,
So we could look it up on the MLS. This would be part of our great due diligence to find that old listing and see if maybe they did flip it. To be great as a buyer agent. That's something you'd want to tell your buyer. Well, they bought it, in 2020, what month? December. So a year and a half, right?
yeah.
And they're going from 478. Not a lot, actually,
Yeah,
not a
that
lot.
was
So I don't think it's a flip.
Wow.
Now, it can be what's called a wholesale flip.
Mhm.
Wholesale flips, you buy something, maybe paint it, maybe put in some carpeting, clean it, de-junk it. That could be a wholesale flip. I don't know why that is. It'd be a great question for the listing agent. Oh, you're trying to get the listing. But for this thing, if you're a buyer, to ask the listing agent, what's up, why? Ask questions, ask a lot of questions for your buyers. So we're kind of talking both. So this confidence rating is highly, highly important. Interesting to see this as a 5-star rating, but I assume it's because it was sold in 2020. So a 5-star rating, from what I understand off the RPR, is within a 5% range of being correct, of confidence. So that number is within 5% of what it really is going for, which is probably about how much they lowered it. I'm not going to do the calculations, but it's probably down 5%. If it's a 4-star rating, that's like 10%, still in a good range. Then I think it drops down to 15 or even 20 on the 3-star. I think if we hover this, it'll actually say that, right? 5-star rating is the highest, 0 the lowest. Doesn't say that here, but I read that somewhere. So that's good information. Sometimes you'll see it down at 432. But again, this range, It's the same thing we spoke about for the range that we saw on the chart. And if it needs renovation or not. This is typically what a 3-bedroom, oh, this is 3-bath, I'll explain that in a minute, is going for in that area. I'm not sure the time frame on that, quite honestly. So RPR is interesting in this respect, different than the CMA cloud, is that 2.5 bathrooms always say 3, which is something I don't like. I wish they would fix. I haven't really talked to them about it yet, but it's always rounding up. It's not a full bath, and that's where I like to go back to the NJMLS and know exactly kind of what's happening. This is just off the tax records here. So single family, there's your square footage, which comes into play, the owner's square footage price. Oh, here it is. You can click on that and read about that. Oh, look, this value's gone up, which is interesting with all the interest rates and all that. This $2,700. Again, limited market. People are buying in 27 days like we saw, which is why it's probably going up. This is probably the current listing people right here since it's listed. And that description probably comes off the MLS as well. So now to do a CMA on RPR. RPB doing a CMA on our part. The address on this is 587 Columbia Street in New Milford. So we basically already, in my mind, know what the range is of houses from looking at those charts and stats. What's the stats at 543 for average sold? And this is at 539, which is about 5,000 under. So they're priced well, in my mind, immediately. And that's why if I was a buyer's agent, I'd find out if there was an open house, if they had any offers, etc. Looking at the picture, a nice brick house, decent curb appeal. Don't see anything falling apart. I don't know what that is on the roof, but 1-car garage. All right, so I typically click here for create CMA. You can do stuff up here as well. And it will kind of take you down to this bottom chart, but let's just do it. So number 1 is you have to confirm home facts over here. So we'll click that. Everything starred has to be filled in. So it already says single family. It already says 3 bedrooms. It already says 3 baths. And it does break this down to 2.5. So it's a total of 3, but 2.5 more finite. And the living space is already in. So nothing you really need to do. I don't go crazy putting in stuff like garages and all that.
Yeah, no, the whole, while you're talking, the whole screen started glitching and everything. I was about to say something.
Okay. And then it takes, once you hit OK, then it goes search for comps. That's the number 2. So we'll open that up. And this brings you to the map and really what I like about this. Now, this is not the comps yet, but it does tell you where the house is. I'm immediately seeing it's near a river. What does that set off in my mind? Flood zone. Is it in a flood zone? Thank you for saying that. RPR will automatically give you what you basically need for the CMA. It tells you it's single family. It gives you your actives, you're under contract, so they call it pending, or closed houses. And this one's defaulting at 6 months. Let's keep it at 6 months for this one. Oops. And then it's giving you 1 less than what you have as far as bedrooms and bathrooms automatically. I'm going to change it. I just want 3, what 3 bedrooms are around. And I'll probably do 3-3. Let's just do apples to apples. And for baths, I'm going to go 2 to 3. So that's what we did on the NJMLS. And that's it. Living space is kind of in there. And then you hit search. Now, this is what I like about it. Now, Cloud CMA does something similar. You can do a map search on NJMLS. If you all don't know that, you can. And you always want to find houses that are as close as possible to your listing. I mean, here's our listing. Is that house as good as, say, this house? No, but you want it closest. So this kind of shows it to you. These are also closer to what we call the flood zone, or not. Now, I'm not sure what distance this is. 200 meters is whatever that is. So that's within 200 meters. That's extremely close, as we know. But so you can do different things here. You can, let's see, it's going to go my way. Is there a way to hide this, right? Hide video panel. So if you click on it, it brings up this. You go to more details, open up a new tab. I don't know if you saw that. There's a new tab with that listing, just like we did on RPR. It comes up. This is an RPR report, and it just, that house is very close. Same information. It closed at 3:35. When? In 3:22. So just a few months ago. So that's a, yeah.
Can you check for floodplain on here or not?
I don't. I just go to Real List, and we can do that if you want to. And Real List has been updated too on the floodplain too. I'm not sure if it's better or not. I'm kind of out to lunch on that. So interestingly, this house, now this is a brick house. It is a single level, sold for 339. Why? I don't know. I would probably go through and look at some of these pictures. And I'm gonna think that it's probably a little bit older. Doesn't look that old. It's got some wood floors. Maybe some painting to be done. Okay, there you go. That's why. That's why. So this is at least like the original cabinets, maybe from 1950. Kind of cool. You could call this a deco styling. But the kitchen needs to be ripped out and done, right? So that's going to be 50, 75, 100,000. Glenn, what would you say that would cost to be renovated to something nice now? And if you're talking high-end appliances and recessed lighting and going into the attic, the ceiling, all these things, marble granite countertops. At this point, somebody may want to knock out this wall and make it be exposed to the family room or living room. So
that's also a main road.
this one's on River Road. Correct. Correct. So that's another reason why the house, oh, that's okay.
And on a crazy bend too.
Crazy bend, dead man's corner, as we like. So I will sometimes go through this and look at the recent houses are nearby. I want to tell you that the circles are for sale. And I don't see anything really close that's circular for sale. There's that one there, which says new. This one's here, new. This one over here. Pending is the little black circles, and recently closed are squares. So again, on market is the competition. Under contract, we can see what things are going for, and closed is what houses have sold for. So here, so what this is now what I'm gonna call the chart, and this gives it to you in distance. So the closest one, that's a half mile, 0.05 miles away. That's not the same one we just did, but this one closed, and you can, the star says was used in the RVM. So it tells you what has used to get you to that price on page one if you're going to do a one-page CMA. So you should be able to see a few stars. The further down they are, the less close they are. So interestingly, that was used. So we can look at this too. We can click on that, get a new tab on that one. Let's look at the closest one that sold. A little different style house. Oh, no, the other one was a split level. Is this a split level? Looks like it. We'll just look at this. So that's closed at 515, which is a little bit below our average stat price, right? Okay. So, you know, if you market it too high, you may not be able to sell it. Definitely a 5-star rating. There's your range, which is a little tighter. See how tighter this is because it just sold recently. That's now a $30,000 range. And that's sold, wow, just like the other day, June 11th. So that value looks like it went down $1,500 in 1 month, but it did go up 5% over the year. So trends, shift, all that kind of stuff is part of our conversation to our sellers. This RVM, interestingly, is 486, which is below our stats average, but it's sold for more. So our average price point in Bergen County has gone up recently. Does anybody know about what that is from any of our meetings?
Well, right here it says 680.
I didn't know it was that high.
Yeah, it's right here.
Oh, is that
This one
for?
here, for New Milford.
For New Milford?
Bergen is 600, 880. New Milford's 536.
Oh, there you go. So that's on our view? That's on
Yeah,
our
this is
view.
right under the,
Right, so as you go down
yeah, just go down.
so you'll find this on your listing, and this is for this house, which is probably the same stats. Did I go too far? And so that's also interesting information, and this will be printed on the RPR report that you're going to give to them. So that we'll talk about that. So great information. So I thought it was more like around just above 600. It used to be like 550, and now it's up in the 800 range, as you said. Where's that number? Where am I missing?
The first graph on the top right. So it's the Milford, then Bergen, then New Jersey. It's been all night.
You said 800.
600, 800.
Oh, I'm sorry.
600, 880.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Oh, so I was correct.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
good, good.
100%.
Oh, I didn't know it was that high. But that's good to know. Average houses in Bergen County are selling above 600,000 now, or about 600. Which is why I think in New Milford, they're selling fast because they're in the 540 range, I believe we said. And there's probably a lot of cash buyers, investors type thing who are buying them. And that's how you have to be competitive in this buyer market. So if you list it properly, list it aggressively, you might just get a buyer, don't have to worry about appraisals, all that kind of stuff, which is great. All conversation with our sellers. Okay, so we'll close this one. So you can go down and look at these. And those were it tells you there's 14 sold properties. So we know that one was used in the RVM. And I don't see any other ones that were used in the RVM. Did I skip something? This is for sale. I'm sorry, sold. And now you have 7 for sales of 3 bedrooms, 2 to 3 baths. Again, this one's just a half mile away. It's not as good as 0.05. It is a competitor, but it's a half mile away. You can jog there in what, 7 minutes? 3 bedroom, 2 bath. It could be a 1.5. That's why you have to kind of look at it. There is a details tab here you can look at. This one says it's a 1-car garage. You can click on it. I don't see any stars over here on the for sales. We have a lot of new ones here, so 3 new ones. Days on market is this column here. This has only been on the market for 5 days, 25 days, 26 days. And I would say, Mr. Seller, do you know these houses? Are they friends of yours? Have you seen it? Did you go to the open houses? Just interesting to know. I mean, this house here, you can see is a taller, different style house. That's an old, different style house. This one's under contract. This is pending under contract. 40 days. It's 3/4 of a mile away. And the year build comes into play too. I mean, this one was built in 202, it looks like, in 1950 something here. So this is all part of the conversation. Now, it's what's surprising to me is I only see 1 star on this one. Because it closed recently and it's close, I presume. So 515, that's interesting. That's 515. This is our house, right? This is not our house. Is this our house? Yeah. Oh, because we're finding comps. So we went back to the same page. I believe that price was there. So again, let me hit find comps. We'll go back to that. So let's just say from your reviewing, oh, this house, this is very close, 0.16, on the market for a long time, 335. No, my house is you look at it, it's a little newer, whatever. This house is more similar. You click here and it goes over here. And you can actually add this one too. So you can, so 333, 3 actives, 3 under contracts, 3 sales would be ideal if you find really good apples to apples, really good same style homes, styles, bedrooms, and condition.
But these squares next to the houses, like they're all closer to the wire, some like dark blue and some are lighter.
Right, so scroll, you put
All right.
right here.
The one was under, I read across the right, not the one right under.
This one?
No, so go up to the one more, where the legend.
Yeah.
I registered across, didn't see right underneath was closed, withdrawn, expired, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, interesting. It was recently closed, like a darker, is that a gray? I think, right?
Well,
Okay.
mine's like white, below dark.
I think it's a gray. So you can choose what you want. You can get three, like this one has a pool, probably not a good comp if yours doesn't have a pool. Let's say this is a nice split lot, I'm just choosing at this point. But you should look at them and see if they're good comps or not. If you're doing a real CMA. So this is closed, and that's only less than a half a mile too. So good comps, let's say. And for sale, well, these are your competitors. Let's call that a split level. We'll add that. Different style. We're not going to do that. Not going to do that. Here's a split level. There's actually pending. Let's add that. I'm doing this kind of fast because I'm not really reviewing them.
If you don't find something similar in style, do you like go by square footage?
Well, it's a good question. You can go by square footage, but style houses do come into play. Like a ranch wouldn't be the same as a 3-story house. So it's just a part of that conversation. You can show them that this 3-story or 2-story split level, if you have a ranch, this split level sold for this amount, but you have a ranch, which ranches are very in demand right now for people who don't have to climb stairs, senior living, things like that. And what else is great about a ranch? I think you and I spoke about this. A 1-story ranch. What's great about that? If somebody buys it, you can raise it. A raised ranch, you can build up a whole second floor if all the permits in town allows it, which it should. You get a whole second floor for the price of one house. Of course, you got to spend $500,000 to do that, but just snap your fingers and you get a second floor. So, but that's what's great about a ranch. Then you can have that opportunity. So once you have all the ones you've chosen, you hit update valuation and close. Let's just see what happens from what we chose. You can go in here and adjust your comps. If you say, no, I don't want that house anymore, you can click it, you can get rid of it. Now we've actually raised it by choosing those houses. I'm not saying it's perfect, 706. But we're going to say, you know what, that's not really what we're wanting to do. We can recommend a price. Anyway, so we can actually put a recommended price in here. You know, so we can just say, oh, let's just say 550. And the range, you know, really, you know, if you wanted to go down to the 534, and I don't really think you're going to get much higher than 555, that you can put that in there and you can now save it. You can also revert to the original should you want to. So I'll change that. And now there's my thing. My comps are saying this, but I'm saying this because your house needs 150,000 worth of renovation. Would you agree with that? It needs 150,000. If you were to buy this house, to update it would cost you 150,000. Create a report.
So you're saying sit and talk with your, let's talk to your buyer, that's a big difference.
I'm just throwing out numbers at this point.
Yeah.
I did it basically because of our stats. And I didn't really look at what I chose. I just kind of quickly chose some. So I might have chosen one or two too high. That's where I might adjust comps. Like, I don't want them to see that. I'm going to get rid of that high. So yeah, so you could do that. You can just get rid of the one house that's making it go to 600,000, which is probably not a good comp realistically. But if you're trying to find something to have a discussion about, you can. And I probably would absolutely get rid of it. And that's why I like, you might have missed the beginning where I would do the NJMLS charts of actives under contracts and sold. If I wanted to print some of those, I would. So this defaults at seller's report, which is an 81-page report. Very extensive. It'll have all the comps in there. Is anybody doing it? I can just run it. So I'll just do it. Very, very extensive. And it really looks like you did a lot of homework. It's really going to blow their mind with how much paperwork there is. Property report is also good, just to give you, does not give you all the breakdowns of the comps that you put in there. So you have to make that decision. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. If I have good stuff off the NJMLS, because sometimes I lay out different things where they can see it next to each other. And this, the format, since it's a pamphlet, they have to turn pages every time to compare it. Sometimes I like to print out like 3 to 5 NJMLS listings that are very similar, full customer report, or maybe even flyer reports. I can show the insides. And I just lay it all out and with my stats, and I have stuff all over the table. And I'll say, you know, so where do you want to price it? Let's get into that later. So down here, I do this every time. I said do. I include the recipient's name. I write down the owner. And I'll write your personal home market. And I'll capitalize or whatever I want to do. It just gives their name on it.
I'm like, ah, no, no, no.
No. And then I'll run it. It takes 1 to 3 minutes for this to run. And it should give you a nice little ding dong sound when it does it. If you're looking to see its status, you go up here to the reports where the orange dot is, and it tells you it's running a seller's report. And then my bell is on, and your bells, I think, are defaulted on. Sometimes, let's just run a property report instead, and I can show you the difference. Let's run it. We still have no. Yeah, we do. So I'm running both of them. And if you don't know, Christian at the front desk has the clear binders, the hot glue melt them to present. Very nice little binder. The front page, we'll see in a second, is basically this right here. So there's the house, not the house. The house that you've chosen will be here. This is you and your pretty picture and all the information for you in the office. So when they lay it down, that's again, your marketing and your advertising to see your name. You can, it's really getting too involved. You can unclick certain things that are going to be printed when you go to, when you go to print, run report. Oh yeah, here. Like if you like the seller report, yeah, actually this one's open. Let's just use this. If you like the property report, but you don't necessarily want to have the okay, I didn't get my ding dong because I think I'm on, because I think I'm on the Keller Williams Zoom thing is why. So we can download it now, and there it is. What I like to do is save it to my computer always. I never email it directly from here to my client. I'll just put this on my desktop for now. So seller's report, there's the address. That kind of has all the information, and I'll just save it there. I don't really look at it here. Has the other one been downloaded? I'm not sure about that. You have a question?
So you're downloading it first, and then we go ahead and diminish some of the pages. You do that later, or you do that?
I do it later. As I was kind of saying, the seller's report being 81 pages, the property report, I really just do the whole thing. On the seller's report, sometimes it's a lot of stuff and stuff you may not want. I basically print it out and throw it away. I hate to be ecologically bad, but you don't know what it is necessarily until you see it. But look at all these different things it has. Refined value, property photos, historical photos. Sometimes it goes back to 1930 and shows you the pictures from 1930, which can be cool. We'll see what this one comes. Market activity, there's some things you just may or may not want, and you may just want to throw them away. Did I answer your question? Did I get the other one? The ding dong. Oh, here it is. So here's my reports. So property report. So that one did come up. I think I closed it because this one says property report. It will sell sales report there. So I'm going to save this one to my desktop also. I'll let you all just see the difference. Okay. So here's the seller's report. And here's the property report. It has me to do something here. I don't do both normally. I'm just showing you. So I use, by the way, guys, and some of you know this, I use Adobe Pro, Acrobat Pro DC. It does cost like, I don't even know, 12 bucks a month or something. And it allows me to edit PDFs right here, which is the main reason I did it. So if you're doing any kind of form, a PDF form, like a CO application, you can just do it right on your computer. Really the main reason I use it just to do those type of things. For me, it was easy to, it's easier. I'll make this so this fits. You can also do signatures and stuff here too. Add text, which is what I do. So if we hit this little button here, it'll be fit one page. You can delete pages also, yeah. You can do that. You can do that here before you print it. Yeah, good point. So that's property. Is this the sellers? Why did that come up? Or view page, sorry. Mm-hmm. I like this little thing here, just fit one page. So similar. Okay, so seller report on the left, property report on the right. Here's the seller's name, just so you can see their name. Same basic information, right? Looks good. Let's just go down the seller's report, the smaller, I'm sorry. This is the property report's 26 pages. This is 70 pages. Didn't it say 81 before? Didn't it say 81? That's interesting. These are going to be similar for the most part at the beginning. So this is almost like the page we started. This is going to be the page. This is going to be your pain point, meaning if your value is way different, like we did earlier, there was 600 some. If this is 650, but you're saying you should sell it at 500, that's exactly the question. Well, why should I sell for 150,000 less? Almost everything we just spoke about. Kind of go about the statistics and all that. So what's good about this one is I'm telling you, you should probably sell it a little higher. But in my conversation, you want to get down to Florida like ASAP because you're having a baby or whatever you're doing. So your family, but you got to bring that motivation into the conversation. Always buying, selling, anything. How you want to market a little more aggressively because you have 11 people out there who are selling 3 bedrooms too. You want to get your house sold faster? Why don't we just go a little aggressive? Let's go like 5,000 under. How does 5,000 under sound to be a little more aggressive, to get more eyes on it, let's try to get that auction effect. Let's get the bidding effect, right? That's what you want, right? First of all, I would probably say, so with all this information, all the stats, everything I showed you, what do you think? You want to list your house at? What do you think you want to list it at? Sometimes we'll say, well, the stats show 550, and I would say, yeah, I think considering your house, and I think I'm good with that. And or I may say, no, I think we can go 10,000 more. Who doesn't want to hear that? So it depends on the house, and you have to bring up why it is or is not applicable to go higher or lower, depending on the house and competition. All of that's coming into play.
So in fact, what do you think you list this house at?
Well, I haven't seen the house.
No, I'm just saying with these numbers right here.
With these numbers, I'd say, well, I'm pretty comfortable. I could go 550. I mean, you're 7,000 above average. Your kitchen was a lot nicer than this house is on the listings. So I think this would be an aggressive, fair number to have a lot of people come see it. And I'll tell you what, I'll know in a day. I'll know in 3 days max if we price it fairly or not. How will I know? I will see how many agents are calling me to see the house, to make appointments. And I will look at how many people are viewing the listings. I can see how many hits there are. And again, it depends on if you're having an open house or not. And I'll see how many hits there are. If I'm seeing hundreds of hits, I know we've marked it very aggressively, and our open house is going to be great. If we get a lot of offers, we may not even have to have an open house. You won't have to move out for whatever. These are all kind of conversations I'll have. So this is a very tight window right here. So I think 550 is fine. I've had people actually say to me, you know what, I'll go 540, I'll go 540.
I would think 539, hoping that you get like 560.
But that's part of the conversation. Yeah. I mean, it's certainly more aggressive, and I'm not gonna argue with that. I think we'll get a ton of eyes on the house if we go that aggressive. That's what we want.
Yeah.
Because I bet you, if we did the 539, Mr. Seller, we might be able to get above this.
Yeah. So
Wouldn't that be amazing?
539 is actually what this is listed at right now.
This is what it's listed at now.
And comp analysis means based on
What we just
what we
showed.
did, and then what's the current estimated on, what's the
That was
difference?
the RVM value. That was the automated value that was done.
So we brought it down because we picked and chose different, okay. just to
Yeah,
understand.
more apples to apples.
Yeah,
You have to know those answers. Those
yeah.
are the questions that sellers are gonna ask you. So exactly, great, then you have the answer. So this is why. Again, we're talking $5,000, $10,000, 1%, 2%, 5% differences. The better, more aggressive we do, the more,
So one's estimated by like AI and one's
Yep.
estimated by net.
right, from houses we chose. Right, exactly.
So your
Now-
RVM and your CMA numbers can be different.
Yeah, because your CMA is closer. to
Sure,
comp
and they are
analysis.
here, and they are here, yeah, depending what you choose. So again, you don't have to necessarily choose, but we're just showing you how to do a CMA off the RPR. IRPD.
At KW.
At KW.
CV.
So I'll just quickly go down this. You can see what's on the seller's report, which is the bigger one. Home facts, extended home facts. Here's the senior AARP livability factors. So this is when it gets a lot of pictures. There's
You
a,
send all that back?
well, again,
70, like, I just.
no, typically I don't always do this one because I have so many other papers, but if you print it out, it's fine in that binder. And you know my story. Here's the binder. This is all the information about your CMA, which competitors are active under contract sold. Read it tonight, it's gonna help you fall asleep. And I kind of bring this little chuckle. You know, it's great information, a lot of information, you know, and I say that like 99.9% of the time. Because, you know, you start looking at it, it's like, what the fuck?
No, seriously.
So look at all this, mortgage records, sales financing. So if you want to get rid of it, you can. So Glenn, you were asking earlier, here's market activity, the darker blue, the more expensive, the lighter blue, less expensive. And it tells you this is down median days on
That's
RPA,
interesting.
right?
Expensive is all by that, by the river, that's that river.
Listing versus sales price, health charts, whatever those are. I mean, all kinds of different things. Here's your comp. Here's a map that we just did. Here are the comps that we chose. You're always going to be house number one, subject property. And then this is the one closed, and this is probably distance. I can't guarantee a point. No, I'm not. No, I'm wrong. Might be price, and I showed it. So this is the comps that you've chosen, and their descriptions off the MLS. They're the 7 we chose, or whatever, 5. And now it's the listings off the RPR of those houses. So it's a lot, right? And here's the second page. Oh, one might have been the actives. These might be the other contracts. So it's a lot of paperwork. That's why I kind of sometimes will choose what I want off the NJMLS and just print those. You know, it's kind of what you want to do and how you want to present it. There's a lot of stuff in here, man. I guess I must have gone through the flood map. Now this one is the property report, which is just 26 pages. A lot of the same stuff as you can see. Kind of simpler. And is it the flood map there?
Yeah.
Best price for, okay, there's the flood zone, yeah. So there's the colors down there, so I can't see on my computer. That's on the green pink area, so higher risk there, lower risk in green. Of course, we'll check the realist flood map to be for sure.
Is there no flood on that, or is that whole entire area of that map flood?
The green is low risk.
But there's no risk. Like, you
Uh,
know, what I'm saying? Like, is it, because I don't know if it's a
I
big
don't-
flood town. That's why I'm wondering, is it just that?
Is it in the X zone of,
Yeah.
it doesn't say it on RPR,
Yeah,
which is probably smarter, really.
yeah.
It is
Yeah.
on the realist?
Yeah.
What flood zone? 100 400-year, 500-year. In the upper left-hand corner, it might say it on the new chart, I'm not sure. Here's Glenn to the rescue. Well, would you rather have a house that floods once every 500 years, possibly, or one every 100 years? And insurance may be different as well. Flood insurance may be different. It may be required if you're getting a loan. If you're buying cash, you don't have to get a flood insurance. So another thing that we discuss as a buyer and as a seller. Well, listen, you're in a flood zone. Not a lot of people are going to buy your house in a flood zone. I mean, this house in Paramus may be worth $800,000, but here in New Milford, next to the river, in a 100-year flood zone, can knock off a couple $100,000 there. All part of that discussion, right? What's that face for?
I'll say yes, I didn't know.
And I just did a whole CE class on like flood zones and stuff. What's happening in the last couple of years? We're having a lot of rain, a lot of floods. Rivers that never flooded are flooding. So the world is changing. Property values and where they're located are changing. If you're near a stream, that could get into your basement, depending how far away it could. All things you want to tell buyers and sellers. It's all part of the big conversation.
That was the A zone, which says areas with 1% annual chance of flooding and 26% chance of flooding.
30 years? Oh,
Yeah, that's a weird.
That's the new updated.
Oh,
real
how
ones.
annoying is that?
So that's why I'm saying.
So much easier.
Well, I think because of what's happening with FEMA, the emergency, they're updating their maps. And you can actually, if you are in a flood zone, and I would recommend Mr. Buyer Seller, to go to FEMA's website. Let's check it out and really see what FEMA is saying too. I think
FEMA's like, oh, I'm in trouble.
don't buy.
Yeah.
These reports are off of FEMA, but you still may want to go to FEMA. And our Carnegie Home and Auto will give you reports on that too, which is another great reason to do it. So in a nutshell, that's a lot of information. I hope you all learned something. It kind of depends what you want to give or not. And any questions? Any questions in cyber world? I hope I can hear you. Let's see who's out here. So that's it, I guess. Thank you for attending.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Jose.
Thank you.
Bye.
I don't know, it was in the side.